Hello, sculpture students. I wanted to talk about how you can come up with a really good idea for your double pinch pot creature, monster, animal, etc. If that's the route you decide to take. Obviously, I've given you some options and some choices to do some different things, right? I gave an example of I made this head. It's kind of like a self-portrait. But if you're coming up with some sort of monster or creature, here's some fun things you can do to figure out how to do it and how to create some really fun details. Okay, so I'm going to do this demonstration on the whiteboard. Grab a detail here. So, one thing you want to start with is what is it, right? What is it? What am I making? So I thought it'd be fun, just as a random idea here. You could do a random animal, whatever. But I had this idea of making a dragon. Okay, so I have to think about how is this dragon going to work. I want to think about not only like the really best version without thinking about sculpture, but I have to think about how it's going to be made, right? How's it going to stand? How's it going to sit, right? Because it's not just like a cartoon that we're making. We're making a 3D physical object that has to exist in a world with gravity, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my sketching. I'm going to sketch out the basic form of my dragon, okay? So we have the body. We're going to have a neck, and we're going to have a head. Okay? So really basic sketch of the body. If you were drawing out some other sort of animal, again, you want to think of really basic shapes, right? I had a student ask me about how to do a bear, right? So if you take basic shapes, if you've ever looked at those how to draw books, you can do, here's the bear, here's his back, shoulder, head. I'm just using circles here, right? And then when I attach these things together, and I'd probably want to adjust some of this stuff, I can get the basic foundation for what could end up being a bear of some sort, right? So use your basic shapes as a foundation for sketching things out and coming up with ideas. All right. So once I have this idea, like, okay, I have a dragon. Here's the basic body. I haven't figured out the legs yet, but I want to go through some of these other ideas first. So what is it? It's a dragon. Then what you can do that makes it more fun is what does it do? What does my dragon do? Is it just a dragon? And that's fine. But if you think about what it does or who it is or what type of creature it is, what type of emotion it might have, that'll give you really fun ideas for details that you can add. So it's not just kind of a basic dragon, right? It makes it more personal to you and your vision. So I thought it'd be fun, and instead of my dragon causing fires, if he was a firefighter. So I'm just going to flip the script on that whole dragon idea. So then I have to sketch out my details. So I would make this with a pinch pot on the bottom. I would make another maybe tall, skinny pinch pot here that I would add. I would cut a hole here, and then I can add even a double, really small double pinch pot on top. As long as I let some air out somewhere, we're going to be good. Okay? So I have the basic foundations of the shape, and now I can start adding details. So if he's a firefighter, he's going to need that classic kind of firefighter hat. Okay? He's probably going to need, I was thinking a fire extinguisher would be cool. So if I had his arms kind of attached to his body and coming off and maybe holding, said fire extinguisher. And I'm sketching really quick here, guys, so I'm not doing super details, but he's got both arms, okay? And then I can say, okay, what are his feet doing? Maybe he's running towards the fire, so I can make one leg kind of back like this, and maybe the other one is striving forward a bit. Okay, so this is when you can start coming up with ideas. Now we're going to have to attach a tail. Okay, notice the way I'm drawing it too. I'm not drawing really long skinny arms. I'm not drawing a really long skinny tail. I'm keeping the things in a size proportion that will help me with the sculpting. Okay, from here I can definitely figure out how to make all this, but this is a good way to start. So then you can think, what's his emotion? Is he happy, sad, excited? I would think my dragon might be a little bit concerned, so I can just put it in a place for an eye. Right? He's looking forward. He's a little bit surprised. And maybe he's starting to look a little worried. Okay? So we can get a little worried look on his face. Those types of things that we just talked about, what is it, what does it do, what's its emotion, can really add to the character of what you're making. So on my guy, I made him looking a little bit perplexed, a little bit angry, and then I have to finish his spear, but I made him a little spear, like he's about to get into a little mini fight. That's one detail that I came up with to add to my creature. So I want you to think through those ideas. You can come up with a million things, but think about those fun details. Does he have, a fireman's jacket on that I need to make and kind of add onto it or carve into it or paint on? So those are things I want you to think through when you're sketching and coming up with ideas. So number one, think about what you want to make. Number two, use simple shapes to help you draw it and think about the structure of it, right? How am I going to make this out of clay so it's not falling over? Okay, we can walk through more examples. So let's do one more. Let's do one more idea so I can get you really thinking about this. So I'm going to erase my dragon. Okay. Make sure that's all wiped down. So I'm just going to pick a random animal. I said a bear, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go with the bear. So again, I drew the bear earlier where it was kind of walking on all fours. But let's think about who the bear is. So maybe he's a really sleepy bear. Maybe he's getting ready for hibernation. That just popped in my head. So that's what I'm kind of going to do. Maybe he's even lying down. That would make it a lot easier to make, right? So if I make a little bear here, I'm going to make his area for where the bear butt's going to go. And he's going to have his shoulder area. And then he's going to have his head. So it's kind of made a snowman, right? But it's really a bear lying down. Okay? And I want him kind of facing forward. So I'm going to put his ears here. And then here's his the front of his mouth here. I'll start using black so you can see it. Right? There's his nose. His eyes are closed. Right? Maybe I bring in here his arm to kind of rest under his chin, right? That would be really cool. And then his other leg is going to kind of be curled up, right? Again, this is all stuff I can pull off because it's sitting, it's foundational. Maybe I put one of those hats on him, those big sleepy hat things, okay? Maybe I even add some sort of pillow here. Okay, now I've made a bear going to sleep. Okay, so this is how I want you to think about your sketches. Don't get stuck on the first idea. You might have multiple ideas around the same animal or same character, or draw different versions of that. There's lots of really cool details you can do. I can do texture in the fur, or like I said, I could put a little shirt on him and make it look like he's got a little shirt on. Right? There's lots of cool stuff you can do. So I want you thinking through that so we're not just making very foundational, basic things. Kind of like with this bunny. I love this bunny with this little sun hat because it goes out in the garden, right? So think about that when you're sketching. Come up with great ideas. You guys will be able to make them. Don't be afraid of it. And of course, I will help you with that. All right. Talk to you guys next time.